Hare Krishna, a couple new faces. Maybe let's do formal welcoming for those who have come here for the first time. Maybe say your names so we can welcome you in our traditional way.
What's your name?
My name is Mukunda. What's your name?
I'm Darian.
Darian. Let's welcome Darian by loudly chanting.
Haribo,
You come here first time?
My name's Dylan.
Dylan. Let's welcome Dylan by loudly chanting.
Haribo,
What's up, sir?
Adam.
Adam. Let's welcome Adam by loudly chanting. Haribo. You came after a long time, right? Shall we welcome you back? If you want to.
Yeah, you can welcome me back, sure. I'm
Megan. Mahalakshmi. Let's welcome Mahalakshmi Megan by loudly chanting Haribo. Would you like to try playing some Vadana? No?
I don't play very well.
It's okay. Something is better than nothing.
It's mostly an off speed.
We'll see. So, maybe I'll start with dispelling some of the confusion. It's like, what is this Haribo? You were here first time, you remember the story? I'll repeat the story again. So, let me tell you the real meaning first and then I'll tell you the story. So, Hari is the name of Lord Krishna, one who takes away all the problems with your mind and in your life. That's the characteristic of God. That's the name signifies that characteristic, Hari. And Bo just means chant. Chant the name of God. That's all that means. In glory of some of our guests who are coming the first time. So that's our traditional way of welcoming. But there is a very nice story that goes with it. So, one time, I don't remember where exactly, but one time, just like this in one of our Kirtan centers, one person came for the first time and they were singing one particular bhajan, one particular song, and that goes, Gaur Nityananda Bo, Hari Bo, 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 Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Nityananda Bo, Gaur Nityananda Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Nityananda Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Nityananda Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Now this guy who's here for the first time, he's wondering, what are they singing? It's not easy to catch these words sometimes. So he kind of thought what they were singing, and he thought they were saying, where's Nityananda gone? I don't know. He thought they were singing like that. So he was, wow, this is a nice game. Where's Nityananda gone? I don't know. Everybody's repeating, I don't know. He's wondering, where is this guy gone? So he comes next day again. When he comes again, they're singing this song again. So he becomes intrigued. He wants to know now where this guy has gone. So he comes back again and again and again. And they're singing all the time. So he's wondering where this must be hiding somewhere, this guy. This is some kind of game. Maybe I'll just stay a little longer this time to find out. So like we will have dinner after our kirtan, they had dinner. So they were sitting. So he sat beside a guy and he asked, "Hey, do you know where this guy Nityananda has gone?" And incidentally, in that temple, there was a guy named Nityananda. So that person said, "I don't know." It's like, my God, this is something amazing. So through that whole process of confusion, he actually just kept on coming and he became a devotee and started chanting and then finally he realized what that means. So I wanted to dispel the confusion back in the first time. Okay. So let's do some. So what we are singing most of the time is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is a so word mantra is a Sanskrit word. Sanskrit is an ancient language in Indian culture, and that word mantra means mana trayate iti mantra. That one delivers the mind is mantra. So the main function of mantra is to deliver the mind from shoka, lamentation, amarsa, which is growth, anger, disparity, sadness, all kind of negativities in the mind are dispelled by chanting of the holy names. And eventually, the ultimate gift which this mantra gives us is love of God. But in our conditioned state, we first need to settle our mind, then we can think of something beyond. So this is a very beautiful medicine without side effects. And when we chant and when we really purely engage in chanting and hearing, it really touches the soul. And it's a food for soul. Just like we'll have dinner after this, what we are doing now is feeding our soul, which is hungry for ages and ages. So let's try to immerse in holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, your heart. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Everybody lift your heart. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, with your heart, everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, cry out the holy name. Hare one more time, everybody together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Sankirtan. Holy flower.
You did some.
I'm kind of not ready yet. Oh, did you say the same thing? Did you say that already?
I said she should go.
Oh.
It's okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
In order of appearance, yeah, you were here. Yeah, it's all good.
You're closer now.
I know, right?
She's close.
I'm officially closer. Cassandra, what's your doggy's name?
It's Zeka.
Little Zeka.
Yeah.
Joining us again.
Little Zeka? Yeah, little Zeka.
Maria, did you play the vintage everything?
It doesn't matter.
Did you play?
I don't think so. No, I didn't play it.
Do it again. She did. Okay, I'm just curious what happened. I'm just wondering what happened before. What did everyone say? What happened? And did I get to do a Sitaram chant?
Yes.
Is that like,
Yeah.
okay? Just something simple, but it's, so Sitaram. So it'll be something different. Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Jaya Sitaram 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 Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Krishna Bhagavan ki
Yeah.
Jai.
Do you want, are you chanting? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want to?
I can, but I won't, if you will.
Yes, I will. I will.
Go after.
And then, do you try to think of something beforehand?
Yeah, but then I change my mind later.
But that's off now.
It's okay. Just depends on, how everything goes.
Let me see.
No pressure, you can take your time.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm sorry, guys. It's just not working for me.
Okay.
It's not working.
It's
Sorry.
That's okay. It wasn't you.
it wasn't you.
There's me.
And me.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah, we'll do some good thing. We'll just do one and then the last one.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Sure. So this is for anybody who wants to stand up. So I'm going to stand up for this tune because it's in a major scale, but it's usually a morning tune. So I have to think of how it goes. Can I use the harmonium for a second? Yes.
I don't know if I know them yet, but if I do, I will play it, but
So it's in a major scale. And a friend of mine passed away recently, and she was a good friend who encouraged me in my Krishna consciousness. So I don't usually read Kirtan, so I'm sorry if I offended you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've been on. You're so sweet. Very bold.
And so you're from too. That was a man who fun, so it was really sweet.
So now we'll do 10-15 minutes of discussion on the first words of nectar of instruction.
Okay.
So on the Facebook page, when we announced today's Kirtan, there was a link. Or go on vedabase.io, VEDA, vedabase.io. And then go to Nectar of Instructions. Nectar of Instruction. If not, just follow along. We're only going to talk about a portion of that verse today. But before we start, let's say a prayer. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mike, you want to recite the verse?
Sure.
Can you give me the mic?
The translation afterwards?
Yes.
Okay.
Do the word, take the mic. Mike, take the mic.
Yeah. Sorry I didn't deliver it.
Okay, nectar of devotion or nectar of instruction, verse 1. Vacho vegam manasaha krodha vegam, jiva vegam udaro pasta vegam, itan veganyo vishaheta dira, sarvam apimam prithvim sa shishyat. Translation: a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world.
So, this is a very small book, just 11 verses. And these verses are actually personal instructions given to Jiva Goswami by Rupa Goswami. Now these names may not make any sense, so let me give you some background. How about a story of why this was happening? Why this happened? Would you like to hear the story behind this very personal instructions?
Yeah.
500 years ago. I would have said. So this happened 500 years ago, and you see here 550. Yes, to be exact. See the one in the yellow garment is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he started this Hare Krishna movement as a Sankirtan movement in Bengal and India, chanting the holy names. And he had 6 prominent disciples, and those 6 were 6 Goswamis. I will not go into details of what that means, and so that will be a whole another lecture. But to cut it short, Rupa Goswami was one of the prominent, Rupa and Sanatan were the very prominent leaders, prime ministers in that time's government. And they got attracted to Krishna consciousness so much that they left all that and they joined him in his movement in Jagannath Puri, a place nearby from Bengal. And then they got instructions to come back to Vrindavan and re-establish all the different pastimes of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan and excavate and establish temples. So that was their duty. Now, Jiva Goswami is one of the youngest of the six Goswamis, and he was actually nephew of Rupa Goswami. And when he was a child, he unfortunately lost his father. His name was Anupam. And after that, he was living in Bengal in a village called Chandrapur. And he was living with his mother, but he got really attracted to Vrindavan and Krishna. So with some pilgrims, he took the pilgrimage to Vrindavan when he was very young, just a young boy. And he comes to his uncle, Uncle Rupa, take me under you. And then uncle says, kid, you still have to do your schooling. You cannot just come here. Because he understood, Rupa Goswami, he understood that this boy is special and he is going to dedicate his life to Krishna consciousness. So he told him, before you do all your chanting of the holy names, I would like you to go and study in Varanasi. So he writes a personal letter to Vidya Vachaspati. And he says, take this and show him this letter. So he goes and he shows the letter, and then he studies all the scriptures under this Vidya Vachaspati. Becomes perfect in different shastras. Shastra means scientific literatures of our scriptures, Vedic scriptures. So a learned, he comes back at the age of between 15 to 20, around that age. He comes back to Vrindavan where Rupa Goswami is. And that time, Rupa Goswami was writing another book. Now, Rupa Goswami has written a lot of literature. He's one of the very scholarly person in our lineage, and he has written a lot of literature. And most of his literatures are called, they're stavas. Stavas means glorification. So stava means. So he wrote a lot of glorifications. And one of them is Nectar of Devotion. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. He wrote elaborate details about how love of God, what are the, he wrote 64 qualities of love of God. The angas or limbs of bhakti, devotion. It's a beautiful book. When he was writing that book, Rupa Goswami, who is now a scholar, his duty was to fan him. And you can imagine a young boy just came back from Banaras. Now, what's the most favorite sport here in the US? What's the most favorite? Is it football?
No.
Guys,
I think so.
what's the favorite?
Probably baseball.
Baseball. Okay. Let's say baseball. What's the favorite sport in India? Cricket. But that time, what was the favorite? 550 years ago, what was the most favorite sport in India at the time? It wasn't cricket. It was scriptural debate. That was the sport.
Full contact.
Yeah, they would just fight on different principles of scriptures. And they would enjoy that. And the hub of that was Banaras or Varanasi. Right? So that was known. All the scholarly people will go there and fight and defeat each other. That was the most popular game in India at that time. So you can imagine he has come from that, right? And now here he is fanning. But of course, he had a lot of devotion in his heart, but still he had that urge. So while he was doing that, one guy called, what was his name? Forgot his name. Vallabh Bhatt, I think. He was one another very scholarly person. And he comes to Rupa Goswami, and while he's writing this nectar of devotion, he says to Rupa Goswami that you made a mistake. There's a mistake here. Now this is happening in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a place of love. Vrindavan is a place of loving exchanges and pastimes. There is no room for most popular sport in India, debate in Vrindavan. Vrindavan, keep your scriptural prowess away. Just love. Different mood in Vrindavan. So Rupa Goswami says, okay, I'll take your advice and I will look into that. He didn't want to engage in debate. But Jiva, the young 15-year-old boy, his urge becomes really now. That guy is wrong. And he's telling my uncle that he's wrong. Cannot let him get away with that. So what happens? He asks for water break from Rupa Goswami. He was finding that was the duty. So he asks for a water break. And he goes on the banks of Ganga, Yamuna, and he catches this Vallabh Bhatta and he smashes him. Scripturally, not literally, but scripturally, making best scientific arguments, he proves to him that his pointing out that mistake was actually not a mistake. He was mistaken, that Rupa Goswami had made a mistake. So this guy was completely bewildered, but he realized, oh my God, yes, you're right. Who are you? So he goes back to Rupa, because now his ego is completely smashed. So he goes back and he says, I'm sorry, I made this mistake. I'm sorry, this guy who was your fanner, he opened my eyes. Then Rupa Goswami understood that Jiva is bringing this different culture into Vrindavan. He is bringing this fighting culture into Vrindavan, and he has not controlled his urges of anger, and he has not controlled his urge to speak. And if that's the case, he will not be able to progress in his bhakti. So then he says, Jiva, come here. I'm going to instruct you. So he gives him this 11 verses. So these are private verses, private instructions, one-on-one given specifically to Jiva Goswami. If we look at all the thousands of verses that Rupa Goswami has written, never, not a single verse, he has written any instructions. He hasn't told anybody to do anything. He's given deep esoteric pastimes and limbs of bhakti and what should be done, what should not be done, but not what you do or what you don't do. It's nothing like that in all the literatures of Rupa Goswami. And for that matter, there is not a single instance in any of these Goswami's literature where they are criticizing anybody. You will not find in any, there are, for example, 400,000 verses Jiva Goswami has written. And many more by Rupa, many more by Sanatana. They have written a lot of literature. But you will not find a single instance that they have criticized anyone by naming. Very important principle. And he wanted to put that culture in Jiva Goswami before he starts writing his own, right? So he gives these instructions. Now the Sanskrit word for nectar of instruction is Upadeshamrita. Amrita means nectar. Upadesha. Upa means set beside. And Desha actually comes from Disha, which means direction. So Desha means giving a sense of direction. Sitting beside and giving a sense of direction. And the nectar of that instruction. That's what this small book of 11 verses, these instructions are. And they were meant for Jiva Goswami. Now we are talking about this 550 years after, and Rupa Goswami is nowhere near. So it is the mercy of Jiva Goswami that he made this knowledge, he gave this knowledge to everybody because he realized that these instructions are going to be fundamental in our journey in spiritual life. No matter what path we are taking, these principles spoken in Nectar of Instructions are universal principles. So now we'll take to the first verse a little bit. We'll only take Vacho Vegam, Manasa Vegam maybe. And then next time we can continue. Because time, we don't have enough time. So what does this verse Vega or Aveg means? There are various meaning of this word Veg, but in this context it means what does it mean? Urge. Urge. There are so it's what Rupa Goswami is telling. First instruction he's giving is that there are 6 kind of urges that one needs to control. For what purpose? Like who needs to control that? One who is dhira. Dhira means sober person. And what that person can do or becomes eligible to, that person can potentially make disciples or give instructions all over the world. So this verse is not a instructions telling us to go and do that. The aim of this verse is not to tell you go and create disciples all over the world. That's not the aim. What the verse is telling us is what is the requirement for a person who can become qualified to do such a thing. So then what can we learn from this? Is one, if somebody claims to be a pure teacher, then we can look at the criteria. Are they fitting that criteria? Two, if we want to ourselves progress, become a sober person, then we can work on these. Right? So one has to understand this important principle is that actually in Nectar of Devotion, which Rupa Goswami was writing at the time, he actually says that one should not make too many disciples. It's one of the 64 limbs of bhakti, right? So now this is a apparently contradictory statement, but it's not. Because this instruction is given to a young boy, Jiva Goswami, who is just blossoming into devotional service. So all of us who are trying to develop some spiritual engagement and enlightenment in our lives. So that we understand that we may have some tinge of urges that we want to have some kind of adoration, some kind of position. And then if we are in a position of authority, we need to understand that what that requires one to be. So that's the kind of a background of this particular verse. So we'll do only two, little bit talk about Vacho Vegam. Vacho Vega means you control your urge to speak. And there are various ways people have told, but very strict understanding of that is only speak what is related to Krishna. Everything else, don't speak. Very practical. Right? Very practical. Tomorrow, if I go to my lab at UP, I will not be able to teach my students anything or talk to my colleagues. So, how do we understand this? What is actual meaning of Vacho Vega? Actually, we can take help of Bhagavad Gita then. Can someone open Bhagavad Gita 17th chapter, verse number 15? There is a book. Can you open it? 17, 15. So Bhagavad Gita gives a little bit more information about what do we mean by controlling the urge to speak. And we will stop there, I think, after we elaborate on that because time we are already.
17:15.
Yeah, I hope that is the verse.
Yeah. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature.
So it gives us 4 different characteristics: truthful, pleasing, not agitating, and beneficial. Which means I cannot say anything to my students that may make them upset. Cannot be strict with my students, can I? What do you think, actually? Can I?
If you want.
If it's beneficial.
If it's beneficial. Right. And if it's true. If it's not just for my ego pampering. So this is how we can understand that our speech should not cause unnecessary trouble to others unless that is meant for that person's benefit. And there should be checks and balances. One can always disguise that, oh, actually, I was doing for the benefit of that person. But inside, feels good. So we need to understand, and that's why we need somebody who can instruct us on our path. So that's the place of a guru. And that's why, again, this verse comes back that who can be a guru or who can be a teacher. I think we'll stop here. If anybody has any questions or comments, then we can, next time we'll start with the other parts of the verse. But is that making some sense? And how? So this book actually starts from this very basic. We haven't even touched love and devotion of God yet. We're talking very basic principles. First 3 verses are not even touching bhakti. But at the end, last 3 verses will talk about what is the ideal way of executing bhakti. So within the short 11 verses, there is a geometric progression, huge leap. So it's a very condensed knowledge, but very, very fundamental. Okay, let's stop here. Hare Krishna. Do we have time to do nursing prayers or you want to do? And Cassandra wants to yes, Cassandra wants to sing, yes.
I with Ashley real fast. Let's do it. I don't know all the lyrics, so I need your help.
I'll support you.
Alright, support me, Ash.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladayanye. Praladayanye.
Hiranyakashipurvashaha.
Hiranyakashipurvashaha.
Shilatamkanakalaye.
Shilatamkanakalaye.
Ito nisimo parato nisimo.
Ito nishima parato nishima.
Yato yato yamitato nisimo.
Yato yato yamitato nishima.
Bahir nisimo hidaye nisimo.
Hare nishima hiraye nishima.
Nisimo marim sharanam praptaye.
Nishima madi sharanam prapade.
Tarakara kamalavaye nakama buddha srinam. Dalita hiranyakashipu. Time to bring up Keshavadrita Maharirupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Dalita hiranyakashipu. Tanurena Keshamadrita Maharirupa Jagadeesha Hare Jaya Jagadeesha Hare Jaya Jagadeesha
Let's have dinner.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah, he's being a bad boy today.